Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching today's video. He is playing with my hair. Guest star is Chad. He decided that as soon as I was filming, he needed to take a nap on this chair. So we're gonna roll with it because I think he wants to be famous. I don't know. Anyway, as I was thinking of ideas for this video, I thought, let's sit down and talk about something bookish, right? Let's talk about books, but I do that in wrap-ups and TBRs, and I've done a couple of those already. And then I was thinking about things that I love about books, things that I hate about reading, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe we could talk about that, but how do we make it fun? Smash or pass. Let's play smash or pass with all bookish things. So I went online and I looked up every bookish thing I could think of. And then I looked up other people doing that in the past, like other videos. I looked up, lists of tropes and all these things. So I made a list. It's not everything. It's not everything that I thought of, but it was just a couple of the first things that came to mind or just really popular things. And I thought that we could play smash or pass with it. So the first category, there are two categories. The first one is just tropes. And then the second one is bookish things that didn't really fit into a trope. Or maybe it does, but it's like a little different in my mind. So let's start with tropes. The first one... Hello. The first one is enemies to lovers. Smash, right? Smash. The thing about enemies to lovers is that it's the most popular trope. I feel like it's super blown up. It's a little overdone. But when it's done right, it is done right. You know what I mean? And then enemies to lovers is so different than like enemies to academic rivals to lovers, or things like in a fantasy book, like I am going to kill you until I make love to you. But in, like the hating game, it's like, oh, I hate my boss until you don't, So I think smash. I think when it's done right, it's so good. And when it's done wrong, it's still good. Like, I still like it. It's a popular one though, for sure. Found family. I think found family is a definite smash. At the same time, I haven't read a book where I'm obsessed with the found family in it. I still need to find my favorite found family. I need to, I don't know, maybe just like think about that a little bit more. I've read Magnolia Parks, just the first two books. That has found family, but they all they like to do each other dirty. And if you know, you know. So that's not like my favorite, but I've heard the Addicted Calloway Sisters series has a good found family, so maybe I'll start reading that series. I don't know. Grumpy Sunshine. This is the biggest smash for me. I love this trope, and I don't know if it's because my dad is kind of a grumpy guy and my mom is something like they are this trope, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that my dad's an actual teddy bear, but he can get grumpy sometimes, so I think it's endearing. Or all I have to say is Nox and Naomi. If you know, you know. I don't know why I love them so much. Even though Nox is like a jerk half the time, I love them. I don't even care. I love it. So yeah, smash. The miscommunication trope. This is probably the biggest pass of all time. I think out of everything on this list, okay, maybe not everything, but I think out of all the tropes on this list, we can all agree that miscommunication just sucks. It's not fun. It's not cute, especially in adult romance when all you have to do is communicate with each other. All you have to do is say how you're feeling. I don't know why it's so hard sometimes. Especially like if you're having a hard time confessing romantic feelings because of trauma or because you're shy or whatever it is, like I get it. That I get. But if someone pisses you off and you're just gonna break up with them out of nowhere when things were going so good instead of talking about it, especially if like you hear rumors that somebody did something and you don't even go to them to figure it all out, be a grown-up. This is not a YA novel. And if it is, also pass. Like, just everybody just learn how to communicate. It's okay. It's hard, but we can do it, right? Okay, anyway, next one, love triangles. For me, love triangles are a huge smash. I love them because I don't know why. Maybe it's because it almost, like when there's a love triangle, it almost feels like an emotional thriller to me. And usually in a love triangle, when there are two options, those two love interests are appealing to two different sides of a person. And so, you're trying to see them fight within themselves and like, oh, but he appeals to like who I needed when I was in my 20s, but he is who I need now that I've gone through these experiences. And who do I, like my soul wants him, but my heart wants him. I love it. I love the drama. I don't know. Maybe I've just watched too many seasons of The Bachelor, but when you got multiple love interests, I'm like, okay, like, let's get into it. Like, let me see that drama. Smash. Second chance romance. I think this one's really sweet. I think I like it because it brings up the past, how people can change. I don't know. I also love something about seeing somebody grovel or like work through past issues. But I don't know. I think smash. I haven't read too many of those either, so if you know any books with that trope, hit me up in the comments. But yeah, I like it. I think I like it. Okay, friends to lovers. Huge smash. I think this is so cute. I think this is what most relationship in real life are like, is that we become friends with our partner before we get involved with them or marry them or whatever it is. And I think that's super sweet. So smash. Okay, this one is kids in romance books. I have a story about this one. So I've only read 2 Lucy Score novels in my life, and I gave one of them a 5-star and I DNF'd the other one. The one that I gave a 5-star was the Knock 'Em Out series, or like the first one in the Knock 'Em Out series. Things We Hide by the... No. Things We Never Got Over. That one. The blue one. Anyway, I love that book. But I also read the Christmas Fix. It's just like a Christmas novel. And the moment I DNF'd this book was when... Okay, how do I explain this? The reason I DNF'd this book was because the main characters had an intimate scene, a smut scene, and it ended. And then the very next chapter, they were still together. Like, the deed had been done, if you know what I mean. But they were still entangled in one another, if that makes sense. And his kid, because he's divorced, his kid is trying to like get into his house. And I hate that. It gives me the biggest ick. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Don't mix children with romantic and intimate scenes like that, because it gives me anxiety. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of a little kid walking in on something like that. Like, that's not a cute idea, Lucy Score. Anyway, and then it created all this drama because then the main female character was like, oh my gosh, he was so scared his kid would see me. He was ashamed of me. And I'm like, you're naked. Yeah. Like, anyway, I DNF that book. I didn't like it for that reason. So yeah, no, kids in romance books, if you keep the romantic scenes and the children far away from each other, as they should be, like, I could see it working, but usually that's a big pass for me. Next one, workplace romance. I feel indifferent about this trope. I think a lot of people meet their partners at work. Usually this trope is also accompanied by like an enemies to lovers vibe, and usually there's some like power dynamics. Usually one's the boss and one's like a lower employee or whatever. I think it's fine. Smash? Maybe not smash, maybe just like a little peck, maybe a kiss, you know? I'm not gonna pass it up. Maybe it's just a little smooch, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll just like buy a dinner and then drop it off at the end of the night kind of vibe. Okay, mafia romance. This last month, I think in February, I had read the first Daisy Hates book in the Magnolia Parks universe. Smash mafia romance. I'm going to talk more about that book in my February and March wrap up, but smash. Okay, the next one is like show don't tell. I don't know if this is a trope or if it's more of just like a bookish thing. I didn't really know where to put this one, so I put it in tropes, but this is when an author in a book shows you instead of telling you. Just because you say it slower, Emily, does not mean you're explaining. Okay, so this is like when an author, instead of saying, and they fell in love, they'll show you the process of the characters falling in love with dialogue and action and inner monologues and, you know, the conflict, the confusion, lots of feelings, things like that. I think this is the biggest smash. I almost think that telling instead of showing, sometimes it's fine. Like, if you want to do it a couple times in your book, that's fine. But if you do it like every single time something pivotal happens, honestly, I think it's just lazy writing. Or just extremely straightforward. But I am a definite show don't tell girly. I want to be on the journey with my characters. And yeah, third act breakups, huge pass. I don't know why. Okay, I know that in English class, most of us were taught when you're writing a story, there has to be the hero's journey, there has to be the quest, and then they go on the quest, and then there has to be a climax, and then you have, you know, the resolution and all these things, and that's great, you know, for fantasy. Perfect, amazing. But I want to meet an author that's so creative that they don't need to have their characters break up last minute and then get back together. I get it. There should be subplots in a book. There should be some kind of conflict. But what if we just put on our big girl pants and talked it out or worked it out? The married couples that I know didn't fall in love and then break up right before they were getting engaged. I think it's unrealistic, and I don't think it needs to happen. But if you're going to do it, just do it well. Make it make sense. Have them communicate and break up anyway. All right, those were all the tropes that I wrote down. Now we're getting into my bookish things list. The first one is alternating POV, points of view, in a book. I think smash. I like to get into people's heads. I like to understand where characters are coming from. Smash. I think I've only read like maybe one book where I didn't like it that much, but it's not a big deal. The next one is ambiguous endings, aka the book ends without any clarity, maybe a cliffhanger, perhaps. This one's hard. I want to pass, but there's just something so true to the human experience about ambiguous endings. It's annoying, but I feel like it's realistic, because in life you're not always gonna know. There's no detailed map. Maybe you have a happily ever after, but then what happens after that? Or maybe you don't have one, but there's one yet to come, and you just have to hold out hope because you're not gonna know about it yet. And that's kind of the beauty in ambiguous endings for me. At the same time, if I want to read just a nice little book and have a nice little time, and there's an ambiguous ending and it just makes me feel not great, or if I was reading a thriller and the ending was ambiguous, I can't tell if that would add to the creepy eeriness the book is supposed to give me, or if I would just get really mad and just be like, well, that was dumb and I hate you and 0 stars, you know? So like, maybe make out, and if ambiguous endings treats me nice, then we can smash, but I don't know. Okay, non-fiction books. Actually, let me get my favorite book really quick. This is my favorite book ever. My cat ate the dust jacket. It was him. Still like a little mad. Anyway, but this is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. I think that's how you say her last name. And this is a memoir, and I love this book so much. It's my favorite book, and it's nonfiction. But usually that's not the case, right? I feel like nonfiction a lot of the time is kind of boring. I love memoirs, but a huge reason why I read is escapism. It's to get out of my head, my world, to experience somebody else's life through their lens. But nonfiction is so great. Okay, I say smash, but like on the DL. Maybe like once in a while. We're not constants, we're not married. But anyway, I feel like I need to reread this book. I love this book. Side tangent, if you don't know, this book is about a therapist and her patients and all their journeys while she's also in therapy. And my dream job is to be a couples counselor or some kind of therapist. And so reading this book, I just felt like from the first chapter, I learned so many things about myself that I didn't even recognize or realize. It was the very first book that I annotated and highlighted things from. I just loved it so much. I love this book. I want to get another copy of it just to have a dust jacket. This is the kind of book where I would have like 50 copies of it and feel fine. Yeah, so smash nonfiction. The next one, historical settings. So I don't read historical fiction. I haven't. I have 2 on my TBR. Maybe I'll get into that. So pass. I love it when a fantasy novel takes place sometime in the past, but more often than not, it's a pass. Morally gray characters. That's hot. And I like getting in people's heads. Smash. Okay, audiobooks. I've never actually listened to an audiobook before, so pass, but I want to smash. And here's my problem. I am too lazy to download Libby, and I need to, but then I hear from people that there's a wait to be able to download an audiobook. Another thing is Audible, but I don't want to pay for an audiobook if I hate it, and I get that there's a free trial, so maybe I'll just do that. I don't know. But I feel like it would be so awesome to just listen while I'm doing things around the house. 2 birds with 1 stone. That sounds great. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, rereading books. Absolute smash. If you have a book that you love, just represents your soul, it's your favorite book, you had such a good time, had you kicking your little toes and your feet a little bit, and you don't read it for like a year and you gave it 5 stars, when you go back to it, it's like seeing an old best friend for the first time in a long time. And you forget so many things in that book. Smash. I love that. Okay, classics. This is funny because my husband is a Jane Austen fanatic. We both love Jane Austen so much. His favorite story is Emma. Mine is probably Pride and Prejudice. I love Elizabeth and her dad, and I love Mr. Darcy. I was in that play in high school, and it was so much fun. So, smash the stories, pass on the books. I don't think I could get through one of them. I've tried to read Pride and Prejudice multiple times, and even though it's one of my favorite stories, like, I just really, like, the writing, like, takes more brain power than I'm willing to put forth, if that makes sense. It's the same for like Anthony Duer books, like All the Light We Cannot See or Cloud Cuckoo Land. I have tried so many times getting into both of those books, and his writing is beautiful, and I can tell that there's a lot of brain power needed to like pick up the hidden messages he's trying to give us, and I think that's beautiful. I think like that part of literature should be accredited and is awesome, but it's not what I'm looking for, if that makes sense. So pass for me. Okay, annotating a book. Smash. I think it's really cool to like go back and reread your favorite quotes or if something made you feel something. I love that. I think it's awesome. Smut in books. Okay. Let's talk. So with smut in books, huge smash for me. I love smut in books, but I feel like we need to talk about it. So just like how an author can write a bad book or a bad scene or an awkward scene, I think it's important to remember that like an author can also write a book really well, but write smut really poorly. And that takes away from the book so much. When there is a spicy scene in a book, I don't want it to give me the ick. I don't want it to be extremely graphic. I think the purpose of those scenes is to convince me of the love of the characters or just in the motives of the characters in that situation. Why am I doing this with my hands? I think it, like, for adult romances or fantasy novels, I think it makes it feel more adult and more real. For YA novels, I think it's like one of my biggest aches when I'm reading a YA, and if there's like anything sexual in it, I'm like, ew, no, like close the door, like these are teenagers, these are kids, like they are not legal, like stop it, leave me alone. But I think it can totally add to a story. On that same token, I think that if a story is just smut and there's no physical or there's no like emotional connection, and if it's just like constant like spicy scenes, I'm not really into it. I don't want to read erotica. I want to read a romance novel. So that's really not my thing. I hope that made sense, but smut is a smash. I think it's super entertaining. I think it like gives me butterflies sometimes. I think it's really cutie. I like it. Okay, next, past and present timelines. For this one, some of the books I've read recently, a past and present like split timeline, are One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. All of those books are 5-star reads for me. But the past present timelines give me so much anxiety because the point of them is to like there's something in the plot going forward in the present, and for you to understand the gravity of the situation, you cut back to the past, but then you're like, oh my gosh. And so in It Ends With Us, I had so much anxiety switching back and forth, past and present, and it just filled me with dread sometime to read a past timeline and knowing something bad was going to happen. I didn't want to read that chapter, but by the end of the book, I was like, wow, that was impactful, that was amazing, that was, it did what it needed to do. So smash, but oh my gosh, sometimes it feels like reading an emotional thriller for me. And I am so bad at thrillers. Sometimes I can't even watch the Bachelor finale because I want something to happen so bad and you just don't know, and it's just, So smash. Character-driven books or plots. Yeah, smash. I think it's fun. I think, you don't always need there to be this huge quest that we have to go on. I think sometimes it's just enough to focus on a character and, really think about why are you doing the things that you do. And that's all you need sometimes, and I'm here for it. Thrifting books. This is one of the biggest smashes in the universe. I have thrifted so many books. I think it's amazing to buy things secondhand, and I love it. I think more people should do it. I think there should be more. I really wish there were more thrifted bookstores stores in my area. There's one half an hour away from me. It's good, but it's half an hour away, and like sometimes there are hidden gems and a lot of times there aren't. So it's always a mix up. You never know what you're gonna find. And I think that's kind of fun. And so side note, if I had $1 million, one of my fantasies is to just like buy all the popular and cool books that everybody's raving about and go around and like put them all in a little library and then donate a bunch to a local thrift store, so that like someone like me, who it's my dream to walk into a thrift store and see the entire indie covers of Magnolia Parks or something like that, to just like see it and buy it all for $5. Like that is my dream, and I really feel like that would make somebody's day. So I don't know. The next one is recreating old stories into new stories, but using that story as kind of like a guideline. So like, does that make sense? So like a modern day Romeo and Juliet, or let's remake Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast, or that kind of thing. This one's a pass for me. I don't like it because I already know what's gonna happen. And yeah, it could be, 200 years in the future, or, let's take Cinderella, but then make it aliens. Like, I don't know, but the thing is, it's the same, right? And they're fun to watch as movies when I can dedicate like an hour and a half to a cute, quirky little Disney original. Like, that's fine. But like reading a whole long book when I know the whole point of the story, it's kind of up in the air for me. I think it's a pass. But if there's a book like that you absolutely love, will you comment below what it is? Because maybe I just need more exposure to this. I haven't really read a lot of those, so pass for me. High fantasy, absolute smash. I don't always need romance in my fantasies. Exhibit A would probably be Brandon Sanderson. I have read the first 2 books in the Mistborn novels, and I am not there for the romance. Actually, those books are high fantasy. There's like a tiny minuscule little romance that is in the books, but like honestly, that's my least favorite part of the series so far. Guys, I only have like 1 book left in the Mistborn trilogy, and I am so scared to read it because those books are so long. They take me like a month to read, but they're jam-packed. I need to read it. I'm scared though. Make me read it. But yeah, smash. Love it. Book merch. Absolute smash. No questions asked. Who doesn't want to wear their favorite characters on a t-shirt, or their favorite quotes on a tote bag, or their favorite, like scenes on a sticker on the back of their Kindle? I love book merch. I love it so much, especially tote bags. If I could have 50 tote bags, I would have 50 tote bags. But your girl gotta have a savings. Your girl got bills to pay, so I don't do that. But I want to do that so bad. Okay, the next one is novellas. This one's a huge pass for me, but within a specific context. If it's just a standalone novella novel, huge pass. I don't care. Like, that sounds so mean, but I think I read last year a novella by Colleen Hoover. I think it was called Finding Perfect, but I'm not sure. But it was like the pink one with like a pink bow on it, and it was like super tiny. And I read it, and I didn't care about the characters before I knew them, and I honestly didn't care after. Like, the story didn't do a whole lot for me. I just wasn't into it. I didn't know what the point was. I didn't know why someone would pay money for a novella, and that's like a little rude, I think. On the same token though, I know that in the ACOTAR series, which I want to read this year, one of the books is a novella. I think that if I know the characters going in and I already care about them, and it's just like a short little like, this is the next book and then we're moving on, like, smash. I think that's fine. I think because I already know, and it's just like adding a cute little something. It's like when you're watching, if you've watched the Avatar The Last Airbender, the animated one, there's some episodes that are just recaps of like what's happened so far, or like there's some episodes where like nothing really happens, you're just spending time with your favorite characters, and that's awesome. That's like a novella to me. But random standalone novellas, I'm not about it. I haven't read one I'm thrilled about, so pass. Okay, special editions of books. This one's a smash. I think it's really exciting going to Barnes & Noble and seeing cute little special editions. I also think, like, lots of people are like, well, why do you buy books if you haven't read them yet? And I think it's because I like to have my own books, but when you can collect special editions, like, then it's a collector's item, man. Like, then it's like, it's this thing that you're proud to have, and it's like every book that you have is a world that you have like compressed and put in your home, and that is so cool. And I love collecting stories. series. And so when you have those books that you love or even hate, but it's a special edition and it looks cool, sometimes it just makes your house look nice. Sometimes it just adds to your bookshelf and you feel cool and special for having it. Smash. The very last thing that we're going to be smashing or passing today is watching the movie or the show before reading the book. I think this is the ultimate pass. I would much rather have read the book than watch the movie, because I don't want spoilers. Like, if I want to read the book anyway, I want to get in those characters' heads. Like, usually the book has a lot more detail and it's a lot better. And when you've watched the movies, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it fills me with dread going into a book when I know what the ending is already. A lot of the times I don't want spoilers. I want my reactions to be genuine, in the moment, and authentic. And if I've already watched the movie and I know the vibe of the book, like, I just feel like I might as well not read the book at all. You know what I mean? So huge pass on that one. Okay, well, thank you so much for doing Smash or Pass with me, all things bookish. Let me know some of your biggest passes, some of your biggest smashes. What are some things that you love about books, or what authors do in books, or writing styles, any of that? What are some things you absolutely hate? Biggest bookish pet peeves? I want to know. I am so interested in what you guys have to say about that. But thank you so much for watching another video of mine, or if this is your first one, thank you so much for clicking on my video. Welcome to my channel. I just want to be your book bestie, honestly. So if that's what you're interested in, subscribe, like, do all those fun YouTube things you already know how to do. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.